Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Taylor and this is Benter's Bookshelf. Happy August, everybody! For me, fall starts September 1st. So August is the last month of summer and I am participating in the Polarthon, the Feeding Tourney, hosted by Jade from Jade Reads. And not only is it a month-long readathon that I'm super excited about, but it's also a fundraiser. And I am pledging to donate $1 US dollar per book from my TBR that I read. The charity is Polar Bears International. It is such a great cause. You know, I grew up being fascinated by polar bears, and I really want that same experience for my children and my grandchildren. So let's donate, let's read, and let's help the polar bears. I made a TBR specifically for Polarthon, and I have 20 books on it. Now it's a mix of middle grade, YA, new adult, and adult. There's a lot of fantasy on here, so let's get right into it. The first one I want to talk about is Scream of the White Bears by David Clements Davies. Now this is a YA fantasy, and the summary says that the lords of the moving mountains have always been the polar bears, and there's only one thing that they fear: man. But they're also haunted by a prophecy, and as a result, a cub is born into the group and he has one black paw. Now this cub is very special. He can hear the very beating of the polar heart. It is this cub who will lead his kind and the world to safety. All right, the next book on my Polarthon TBR is Never Tell by Catherine Orton. Never Tell is a middle grade historical fantasy. And I apologize for the glare from the cover. I did get this from my library, so it does have that plastic cover over the dust jacket. Now, the tagline for this says that magic can be found in the most unlikely places. Born in a Soviet prison camp, Lena has never seen the world outside its walls until the night she makes a daring escape with her best friend. As the pair journey across the snowy wilderness, they are pursued by the sort of magic they could only know from fairy tales, if fairy tales were still allowed. A vengeful witch, ghost wolves, a bird of unusual size, the woods and wastes of Siberia are alive with strange and perilous creatures. The children will need every ounce of courage and a whisper of magic if they are going to survive the journey to Moscow and the promised safety of a grandmother Lena has never met. So that sounds really cool. I love that it is set in the Soviet Union. I am just really excited for the adventure that these two go on, and I can't wait to read this one. Next is The Girl and the Stars by Mark Lawrence, and it is a YA high fantasy. In the ice, there is a hole where broken children are thrown. On Abeth, the vastness of the ice holds no room for individuals. Variation is dangerous and difference is fatal. Our main character, Yaz, is torn away from the world that she's known her whole life and has to carve out a new path for herself in a world that she didn't know existed. All right, next up is The Way Past Winter by Karen Millwood Hargrave. Now this is a middle grade fairy tale, and Oman Chinani, the author of The School for Good and Evil, has blurbed it on the back here, so I'm going to read that. It says, at once an epic adventure and an intimate tale about family. More than just a gripping story, it presents a timely and powerful allegory for how humanity and nature are inextricably linked. A truly beautiful book. So yeah, I also love the cover, guys. Like, that just looks so freaking cool. I love the style of the characters there. Again, sorry for the glare. I did get this one from my library as well. And next on my Polarthon TBR is Echo North by Joanna Ruth Meyer. Now this is a YA Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I love the story of Beauty and the Beast. It is one of my favorite stories of all time, so I'm really excited to read this one. I've only read a couple Beauty and the Beast retellings over the course of my reading life. And some were okay, but I haven't found one that I really enjoyed, so I'm hoping this one is going to be it. So since this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, I'm not going to really go into what it's about, but the author of Cruel Beauty, Rosamund Hodge, did blurb it here on the back, and she says, "A marvelous, enchanting tale about the power of love and stories." The next book is one that I learned of through Gavin's channel, How to Train Your Gavin. So thank you so much for putting this book in one of your middle grade videos, because I am very excited to read it. And that is The Polar Bear Explorers Club by Alex Bell. Now this is a middle grade fantasy, and it is illustrated by Tomislav Tomic. Stella Starflake Pearl knows without a doubt that she was born to be an adventurer. It's too bad girls are forbidden from becoming explorers, but Stella's father Felix has never been one to play by the rules. Leaving behind her pet polar bear Gruff and beloved unicorn Magic, Stella sets off with Felix on an expedition to the snowy Icelands. There, Stella plans to improve herself as a junior explorer worthy of membership to the Polar Bear Explorers Club. So when Stella and 3 other junior explorers are separated from the rest of their expedition, she has the perfect opportunity. Can they explore the frozen wilderness and live to tell the tale? So yeah, thank you again, Gavin, for this recommendation. Super excited to read it. And come on, Polar Bear Explorers Club, perfect for Polarthon. I mean, you couldn't get any better than this. Next one is a little bit of a departure for me from what I normally read, and it is Memoirs of a Polar Bear. Now this is a Japanese adult magical realism novel, and it is by Yoko Tawada and translated by Susan Bernofsky. So Memoirs of a Polar Bear stars 3 generations of talented writers and performers. Famous stars of the literary world, the circus, and the zoo, they happen to be polar bears who move in human society. Part 1 is about the matriarch enjoying the intimacy of being alone with her pen and accidentally writing a best-selling autobiography. Part 2 is her daughter, who moves to East Germany and pioneers a thrilling circus act. And finally, we have the grandson of the matriarch and the son of our second character, and he is the last of their line. Born in Part 3 and raised by a human keeper in relatively happy circumstances in the Berlin Zoo. So definitely something different for me, but I am really excited to read it. It is not too long. I am really trying to read more translated works because that's not something that I have really delved in the past. So yeah, really excited to read this one. Next, we have a middle grade historical fantasy, and that is The Wolf Wilder by Catherine Rundell. Now, this is another one that I got from my library, and the tagline says, "Wolves, like children, are not born to lead calm lives." And there is a little passage here on the back from the story. "The wilder will teach the wolf how to be wild, how to hunt and fight, and how to distrust humans. They teach them how to howl, because a wolf who cannot howl is like a human who cannot laugh." That just sounds really cool. It also sounds a little bit sinister. Super excited to read this one too. Next up, we have The Song of the Siren by Nicholas Kotar. I do have this in ebook form, and this is an adult epic fantasy retelling of the Russian fairy tale Prince Ivan and the Grey Wolf. The tagline says, "An evil omen clouds the sky. A song of lore returns. Can one man's quest save the world? Armed with the memory of the song, Vorad must hunt down a dark spirit before it attains its goal of immortality." All right, the next one I believe I learned of from Liv's channel, Liv's library. So I will link her channel as well as Gavin's that I mentioned earlier down in the description box. Thank you, Liv, for this awesome recommendation as well. And we have Shiver by Maggie Stiefvater. Now, Shiver is a YA paranormal romance and urban fantasy. We have Grace, who is a girl who has watched the wolves all her life in the woods behind her house. And we have Sam, who is a wolf in the winter and human in the summer. When Grace meets a dreamy stranger with yellow eyes, his familiarity takes her breath away. But as winter approaches, Sam must fight to stay human or risk losing himself and Grace forever. The next one we have sounds so good and so up my alley, and that is Until We Meet Again by Renee Collins. So the summary here says that they exist in 2 different centuries, but their love defies time. Cassandra wants nothing less than to spend her summer with her mother and her stepfather in this sleepy shore town in Massachusetts. But when a handsome stranger shows up claiming that their private beach is his property and that the year is 1925, Cassandra is swept into a mystery 100 years in the making. Now that just sounds awesome, and boy, if I don't read it for Polarthon, it is going to be read sometime this year because that is right up my alley. I definitely say that is a 5-star prediction. Next up is another one that I'm really excited about, and it is Today, Tonight, Tomorrow by Rachel Lynn Solomon. Now this is a YA contemporary romance. It has been described as the hating game and Nick and Nora's infinite playlist by way of Morgan Matson in this unforgettable rom-com about 2 rival overachievers whose relationship completely transforms over the course of 24 hours. The next one on my TBR is an adult contemporary romance as well as a book about books, and that is The Book Charmer by Karen Hawkins. And the tagline for this one is an unforgettable story about a sleepy southern town, 2 fiercely independent women, and a truly magical friendship. Now, that also sounds right up my alley. A sleepy southern town, I mean, come on. And a book about books, like, give it to me now. Now we have The Winter Duke by Claire Eliza Bartlett. Now this is a YA queer high fantasy retelling, and it is an enchanting tale of intrigue where a duke's daughter is the only survivor of a magical curse. And this book says, part Sleeping Beauty, part Anastasia, with a thrilling political mystery. So I'm definitely intrigued. I like Sleeping Beauty. I love Anastasia. So put those together with political mystery, and it definitely has piqued my interest. All right, and a departure from kind of the rest of the books on this list, I have a nonfiction book, and that is American Cozy, Hygge-inspired ways to create comfort and happiness. And this is by Stephanie Peterson. Now, a lot of you probably know what hygge is, but it is a Danish way of living that really encompasses their love of comfort. And in this book, the Danish-American lifestyle expert Stephanie Peterson has created an inspiring guide exploring how you can use hygge to cozy up in every area of your life, from home decor and decluttering to work and scheduling to entertaining and cooking. Now, I love all things cozy. Like, wrap me up in a blanket, put fuzzy slippers on my feet, give me a hot cup of tea, a book, and a fireplace, and I'm there. Like, I love cozy. So I'm excited to see Stephanie Peterson's take on hygge, but also on like the American way of hygge. So I'm really excited about this. It is kind of just like a how-to guide, personal development book. It is nonfiction, but I think it fits in very well because it's all things cozy. And yeah, I am excited to read this one, and surprisingly, my 8-year-old daughter actually wants to read this. Next one on the TBR is Winter Garden by Kristen Hanna. This is an adult historical romance, and the tagline is, "Can a woman really know herself if she doesn't know her mother?" This is a powerful and heartbreaking novel that really illuminates the intricate mother-daughter bond and also explores the enduring links between the present and the past. Now we have Fantasy of Frost by Kelly St. Clair, and this is a new adult high fantasy romance. And it says, "Sometimes it takes a world bringing you to your knees to find that spark that you thought was lost forever. And sometimes it takes death to show you how to live." So that's ominous. And yeah, I'm excited. All right, guys, 2 books left on my TBR for Polarthon, and we have Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. And this is a YA epic fantasy about Prince Yarvi, the reluctant heir to a divided kingdom, who was betrayed by his family and left for dead. He has now vowed to reclaim the throne that he never actually wanted, but first he has to endure trials and tribulations, and all with only one good hand. So this definitely sounds like a super big adventure, something with a lot of action, and hopefully it is as good as it sounds. And the last book on my TBR for Polarthon is Death of the Mad Hatter by Sarah J. Pepper. Now this is a new adult romance and an Alice in Wonderland retelling. Love me Alice in Wonderland, so super excited about that. The little description here says, "Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine the possibility I would fall for the boy with a girl's name. He was stimulating in more ways than one, and no matter how hard I tried to hate him, I couldn't. That made what I was about to do so delightfully horrible that the wicked Queen of Hearts herself would be impressed." Now, I don't need to know anymore. Like, just that little bit, and I'm hooked. I'm going to read it. I think it's going to be 5 stars. So yeah, really hoping that I get to that one. All right, guys, that is all 20 books on my Polarthon TBR. Now, I don't expect to get to all of these books this month. I am hoping to get through at least half of the TBR. And again, the fundraiser is Polar Bears International. I will link the fundraiser information down below, as well as Jade's channel, Jade Ray Reads, since she is hosting Polarthon. And I hope you guys join me not only in reading, but in donating. And again, I'm going to donate $1 for every book that I finish from my TBR during Polarthon. I want to thank you all for watching this video. If you've made it this far, I really hope there is, but leave a polar bear emoji down in the comments. And let me know if you are wanting to participate, or if you just want to donate, let me know as well. And let's get the money raised for the polar bears. Thank you all so much for coming to my channel and for watching this video. It really means a lot to me, and I hope you are having a wonderful day or night or whatever it is for you when you're watching this. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you very shortly with a new video.